talk to you about today is social networking and some of the trends in social networking. I'm going to talk about what safety precautions people are taking, or what the social networking companies are promoting today, and of course a little bit about the harmful digital communications bill. So quickly getting into those, here are the top 15 social networking sites. This data is fresh out of the States. There's top social networking sites in the States. You'll recognise a lot of those. They're the same services that we use here in New Zealand. I'm just going to just squeeze YouTube in there. I'm not sure why it obviously didn't qualify under that as a social networking site, but it's one of the more significant sites. What's interesting in this, just to begin with, is that Facebook is 3 times bigger than Twitter and 10 times bigger than Instagram. So those top 5 are a huge percentage of the online activity in terms of social networking, and then it tails off. One of the things that people have pointed out recently, and Facebook have talked about openly, is that young people are not using Facebook as much as they were. So why is it that they would move away? Well, I'm going to give you my opinion. Firstly, young people like to embrace new technology, such as wearable tech. This image is ancient. Who hasn't seen this image before? Really? Yeah, it probably disappeared. It came back. Anyway, so wearable tech, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about going mobile. So, young people especially, their primary access is through mobile devices, and in the developing world, primary access is through mobile devices. So, services that engage on that mobile platform are being more successful, and those are services that are using the power of the mobile devices as well. So they're directly linked into the sort of GPS and location services. They're using the fact that you have an integrated camera, and those sorts of services are becoming more popular. Disappearing media is a definite trend, and very logical response to the conflict between the permanence of the internet, what I put online stays online, and the fact that I want to take risk online. Me personally, that was an example. I'm so scared when I'm online. No, so this logical response was things like Snapchat, media that disappears, and you'll see lots more of this kind of thing. Unfortunately, of course, it is still possible to capture the media, so that creates all sorts of issues for those people. Better blogging, so you'll see new services are emerging that are somewhere between sort of micro-blogging and just banging stuff up, and that sort of old process of producing a very detailed, thought-through analysis of a subject, such as Stephen does on his blog. So you have these sort of lightweight blogs, and a lot more use of imagery and brief text in blogs. And images are definitely a more popular way to present information online. So if you place an image in your Facebook post, you'll get 50% more likes and 100% more comments than if you just say something clever with text. Or not clever, it doesn't matter, just image against text. Not sure why I felt the need to put that in. You'll see more specialisation in social networks. So this one's Lulu. Who knows about Lulu? Who's on Lulu? No. You don't want to say if you... Did you put your hand up?
You went too quickly from knowing about it to being on it.
Oh. Sorry, going too quickly is a problem for me. Yeah. So Lulu is a woman-only social network where you rate men. So it's not particularly specialised service, but there are increasingly social networks with a more narrow focus than say Facebook, which you can put quite literally your entire life on. You have these more specialised social networks, and there's a few of these emerging. Certainly we're in the age of the selfies, and you'll see lots. That's a selfie by an astronaut. You'll see a lot of services that help you to share your selfies and that are based around the selfie, essentially. So that's probably a trend we'll see. So just coming back to these top 15, now 16, one of the things that's interesting in this is that these organisations obviously know about these trends, and you can see from their buying behaviour as they buy other services that they recognise the people are moving towards those things. So Facebook buying Instagram, Yahoo owns Tumblr and Flickr. they're purchasing these services that they can see people are moving towards. Which brings us nicely to safety. I'm not sure it does bring us nicely to safety, but I wrote that down, so I just read it out. So just talking about social networking sites and their approach to safety now. So it can be quite difficult to see social networking sites' interest in safety, but truthfully, pretty much all of them have these kind of 4 basic things. They have terms and conditions, which they set and you agree to when you sign up. They tend to have a privacy policy. They have, most have a safety page or a safety centre, somewhere you can go and find out about how to be safe, either on their service or online generally. And then, they have some sort of a report abuse button, which is, you see something which is contrary to the terms and conditions, and then you report it. And I don't think anybody has moved to a new online service because they were really good at safety. But what happens is that over time, if you have a significant user base, those people want some sort of safety interest. So if you're Facebook, you've got gazillions, billions, exabyte, I can't even remember how many users Facebook's got. Those people are now saying, well, we've been here a long time, we're interested in privacy, we're interested in safety. So you see those sort of big companies taking it more seriously. And in the case of Facebook, you see innovations like the social reporting tool that enables users to report content that they don't like and resolve things in amongst the communities. The other thing that you see some of the more developed organisations. I've just noticed Mia from Facebook is here. I'm suddenly more careful about what I say about Facebook. I quickly need to edit some slides. What was I talking about? Also driving interest to the safety centre. So Trade Me is a good example here in New Zealand, where their safety centre is very active. They blog. They actually try to drive traffic to it, try to drive you to learn about safety, as opposed to just hiding it away and saying, oh, well, we've got a safety centre. The other thing that's interesting is that this is going on. So this is the sort of standard complaint process that goes on inside a multinational social network. The user has a complaint, it goes into the sort of online complaint system. There's normally a customer services team who vet them for nonsense and validity, and then push the valid complaints up to a trust and safety type unit who then comes up with a remedial action or resolution. So, I don't know what happened there. That logo just jumped in. So just imagine that was Facebook. And then what Facebook could do with is an independent, trusted provider of high-quality cyber safety services, such as NetSafe, which people can turn to locally in New Zealand and come to us and say, or to this independent, trusted provider, and say, I require some assistance. And that organisation can then report up into the trust and safety team at the multinational social network and say, look, this is a valid complaint. I want to put some local context on this and explain this to you and escalate this faster than it would escalate through your internal systems. And of course, what is required for that to work is that organisation, the Trusted Independent Cyber Safety Organisation, needs to be prepared to return some of the non-valid complaints back to the user and say, I'm sorry, we can't help you escalate that. Otherwise, the multinational organisation can't trust the independent cyber safety organisation to act in everybody's best interest. And of course, you can put into that process when that independent cyber safety organisation, NetSafe, sees illegal activity, it can then siphon that off and say that needs to go into law enforcement rather than be dealt with in amongst the community. So this kind of thing is going on. It goes on between NetSafe and Facebook. It goes on between NetSafe and a series of other multinational organisations as well. So turning now to New Zealand and the harmful digital communications proposals. What do we know about cyberbullying and harmful digital communication? Firstly, if there's technology, some bad actors will use it badly, and so there are fairly high rates of cyberbullying. 1 in 5 students experience cyberbullying. The Law Commission found 1 in 10 adults that experience some sort of harmful digital communication as well. The impact of cyberbullying, I think, is in the short term. Often there are immediate impacts. So there's links between cyberbullying and children self-harming or taking their own lives. There's clear links between bullying and reduced quality of education outcomes. What's interesting is there's also now research showing that if you were bullied between the age of 7 and 11, then you will feel that you have poorer health between the age of 20 and 50. that there are significant long-term effects on how people feel about themselves and about their health from bullying as a child. So it doesn't matter how you splice it, economically or socially. Ignoring bullying is foolish, so we don't. The other thing which is interesting, I think is an important thing about the New Zealand approach, is that we know that people make mistakes online. Children make mistakes, we make mistakes. The internet makes it very difficult to reverse those mistakes, but we should be trying to put in a process that enables people to do that. So along comes the harmful digital communications. I won't go into a legal analysis of the harmful digital communications, partly because there isn't time, and partly because you can read Stephen's blog and it's going to be way more thought-provoking and in-depth than what I would say. But there are two killer features of the HDC. Firstly, it's called harmful digital communications, and it attempts to resolve the issue of harmful digital communications. It does not resolve cyberbullying. It is one of the tools to combat cyberbullying, but by narrowing down to the HDC concept, it enabled us to produce, not us, the Law Commission, talk about grabbing other people's credit, it enabled us, again, it enabled them to produce a solution which actually could work against the problem as defined. The other thing is it builds on and enhances the current solutions. So it's not as radical as it sounds when you see some of that kind of behaviour between the multinationals, law enforcement and the NGOs and users that's already going on. So there's changes in it to the Harassment Act, the Privacy Act and the Human Rights Act. I won't go over what those are because I'll run over time. And there's a new crime of a harmful communication, and then there's the civil process, which is the expansion of that process that I just showed you. So what is a harmful digital communication? It is three things. It is aimed at an individual, which rules out things like this. These are images from, well, one is an image from Innocence of the Muslims, the other is the response. So those aren't covered, those are censorship issues, that's not harmful digital communication. Secondly, it needs to breach one of the communications principles. If you read through those, you'll recognise those as being drawn from other parts of New Zealand law. And then thirdly, it needs to cause somebody harm. So there's a three-part test. And if you have a harmful digital communication that passes that test, you would then be able to engage the services of the approved agency, which is essentially that kind of process but beefed up. And the approved agency, if that didn't work, then you could flow through into the court rather than your options which are currently there now. There is opposition. I thought we should just note there is some opposition to the harmful digital communications proposals. Mostly based around concerns about curtailing freedom of speech. So that probably comes back to that three-part test, whether that's strong enough. And then also some concerns about whether it's actually particularly workable. I think it is workable, but it's not going to resolve 100% of the challenges that people face in this area. I just wanted to also note that over in Australia, our Trans-Tasman neighbours, our cousins, our friends across the ditch, they have released something called the Cyber Safety Review Enhancing Online Safety for Children, which draws some similar ideas and has some similar concepts, but has the idea of three pillars essentially: an e-safety commissioner, a content takedown scheme, where you can complain that something is harmful to children, it gets taken down under direction of the e-safety commissioner, and then they talked about a cyberbullying law, although it looks as though the cyberbullying law is dying a slow, painful death and may not actually make it through. Do not attempt to go any further. Helpful tip for myself. That is the end of my formal presentation. Thank you.